Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the What the Football channel. This is the BH and Scrubber show. And on today's show, we are going to be covering that Dallas game. We're going to do a recap of that, look at some of the coaching changes that we've seen going on, and also take a look at the upcoming Miami game. We're going to do it all here in one big show. And just a quickie, that Miami game is going to be, I think, this upcoming Sunday at 1 o'clock. So join us here. I'll do the live play-by-play, live reaction. And of course, our boy BH is going to be in the live chat room, hanging out with us, answering your questions, making funny jokes. We're just going to try and have a good time like we always do on Sunday. So join us then. So BH, we're going to cover this Dallas game a little bit. It was, I wasn't surprised by what happened. I thought we had a good chance here and there. It was good. They could have done all right if they capitalized, but it just didn't flesh out. But it wasn't like we weren't expecting the outcome that we got. So
yeah, we had our hope. We were hoping hard for how this team has a way of stepping up for big games because they played Philly tough and they went up to Seattle and played tough, and they've kind of done that's sort of their modus operandi anyway. And then they just crap the bed against some team you're supposed to beat, but not on Thanksgiving Day. The turkey laid an egg, and it was pretty. Man, I don't even know. Not awful, not terrible. It was just like we expected it, and it was boringly bad.
Yep.
And quite frankly, especially Dallas's offense, it's not like they had the pedal to the metal, dude. They were just running regular plays. They weren't out there. They weren't all jacked. It's almost like they sensed it, man. And they ran one pretty cool play off of trips that was kind of neat. I kind of like that play. I hope that EB saw that play. But other than that, nothing spectacular, nothing crazy. And they just motorboated us out of there. And they were eating the turkey legs with 10 minutes to go in the game.
Yep.
Yeah. And you know what?
Ow.
That's cool, man. I heard a bunch of crybabies out there whining about that. Nah, you know what? You pound someone into the ground like that, turkey legs, dressing, hot dogs, whatever you want, man. To the victor of the spoils. You don't want that to happen, and you don't want that thrown in your face. Hey, show up and play better, man.
Exactly.
That's on you. Yeah, better fan, better. Hey, everyone had to step up their game, and they didn't. So, defense, we're going to get into that because of the coaching. Defense was particularly out of position on a lot of plays. The DB aspect of it was, just guys running free. So I think this was all, this has kind of been brewing. We've kind of been seeing it. It's sort of been the thing. You and I know that this defense was supposed to be the big deal with this team. This defense was gonna, and I was thinking, here we are, into November of 2023. We'll go back to the end of November 2021. That's 2 full years ago. Do you see any improvement? Even though they got first round picks, extended key players, gave them pretty much what they want, invested not just first round picks and second round picks, but, third and fifth round, a lot of DBs, a lot of safeties. Got a second round pick in Fedarian Mathis. They gave him even a top echelon pick for another defensive tackle, despite having 2 real good ones. So, that all sort of, you could see it all coming to a head. Mm-hmm. And so the game was just bad all over. I don't even know. There's really nothing much to say. I guess the only thing I can think of was I did see, Curtis Samuel had a pretty good game.
Yeah.
And I think with PFF, Sam Cosmi had a real good game. And Sam's been consistently having a good game. So we kind of got to give them props. I really wish they'd left him at right tackle. But moving him to guard, and he just has exploded. So that was good. Defensively, not all that much to be happy about. Surprisingly, this is weird. Cody Barton, our highest rated defender, 76.7. He had a couple plays. I watched some guys breaking down some film on our D, and And Cody did look real good. And then there were plays where he kind of looked bad, but there was sort of you could tell there was miscommunication, and you could almost tell, like, well, was that Cody's fault? Was Jamin there? Kaliki on this play, was he there? So it's really hard sometimes to judge. You don't know what they're calling going in. But the bottom line is that's the kind of stuff that we needs to be cleaned up. And this is why we lose all the time.
Yeah.
Like, why are you out of position? But Cody was pretty darn good. And believe it or not, Danny Johnson and always Kendall Fuller had a pretty good game, but nothing on that D side was that great. But on the downside, I mean, Ben St. Juste and Percy Butler got a Pro Football Focus of 27 points.
Wow. I wouldn't think it'd be that low. I knew they did bad, but
they did bad, but that's just like real bad. And and then on the offensive side, not surprisingly, Andrew Wiley, our boy, Andrew Wiley, and Chris Paul. I mean, it's his first year starting. I mean, it's his second year in the league, first year starting. Those guys had not good scores. Now, not 27s, but they didn't score that good. But I just wanted to throw some of that stuff out there. It doesn't really mean anything, but just to say, I mean, some guys are performing. It just goes to, I just wanted to put it out there because not everyone's sucking on this team.
Right.
You know, like you say, like Kendall Fuller almost always puts in a strong game, you know, and a lot of guys, including, I mean, John Allen has had some mid-level games. Duran's had some mid-level games. Cam Curl, a lot of mid-level. I kind of expect those guys to be higher. I don't want to see those guys getting 55s. I want to see like 70, 75. And honestly, it shows up on the field. We're not experts, but you and I, you see it. I mean, guys out of position, guys getting run over, poor tackling. And let me tell you, PFF, you miss tackles, man. That's a big grade against you. Out of position.
Seems like they're not communicating. It's like we've talked about this. It's something in the locker room, or it's something about, we see it all the time with the blown plays and the things going on with the linebackers. It always looks like they're not communicating. And I've seen a little bit of it. You see sometimes, you know, someone will be coming across the middle and he'll pass it off to the next guy and they'll kind of make a motion or something. But for the most part, it stems from, I feel like, what's going on, whatever it is, that they either it's okay, I'll just do my job, which is good, do your job, but not to the point where now you're not communicating to the other fucking guy. You see what I'm saying? Okay, if that's what you want, then I'm just going to do my job. You see what I mean? And then the communication stops. Say, fuck you, I'll just do my job then, and y'all can fuck off. And that's kind of what it looks like to me out there. This is what you want, this is what I'm going to do. I know I'm supposed to go to this line and to this line and stop, and that's it, like in zone coverage or something. Without even saying I'm passing them off. He goes over the hash marks, he's in your territory, he's yours now. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it looks like to me out there. And so hopefully some of that got fixed. I think our defense did pretty good up front for the first few quarters. It was back and forth. But then at the end there, they just caved every time. It started with that touchdown run by Dallas at the end of the first half.
Yep.
Where we went down and we scored. We said, fuck it, there's only like a less than 2 minutes, was inside the 2-minute warning. They just blazed right down and scored a touchdown. And then I think, you know, watching them fumble the timeouts and not trying to, at least trying to answer back with a few extra seconds on the clock to try and do something. There was still like 40 or 50 seconds could have still been on the clock by the time they were done, and we had a chance to go down and kick a field goal. They didn't do anything like that. They didn't even try to, because we were giving Dallas the ball back at the halftime. We didn't even try and go back, and so we stalled them a little bit in that third quarter, and then fourth quarter just opened up, and with them fourth down and outs and three, I think we were 0 for 3 on fourth downs. They were fucking horrible.
They were.
That's just what killed us. You know, even our guys in the chat room, why is he taking a 4th and 2 from the shotgun? You know, all 3 of those plays, third down plays, same thing. And it's just because EB doesn't know how to do a run play.
I guess. Yeah, only from the shotgun. And then all the things you talk about are so Well, those are systemic problems, within the thing. And then, but also they're repeats, and not repeats from this year, repeats from this regime, right? Team gets the ball at the end of the game, minute left, only one timeout, like Seattle. Boom, 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 boom. They kick the field goal, they win.
Yep.
Boom, like a hot knife through butter. Same thing. They get the ball at the half, bam, 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 running play, touchdown. It's like something that's a mindset.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a scheme. Mm-hmm. That's what's your mindset? What are you guys doing when a team gets the ball at the end and it's really a good situation, right? Because hey, there's 58 seconds, they got one timeout. To me, as a defender, I'm going, good. We can defend these guys. Let's do this. And we just sort of just wobble, and then and as fans, we sit there and watch it going, oh, here we go. So all that stuff, slow starts, it's just constantly being repeated. And it was in this game. And then so all that happens. It's a horrible game. And the next thing we know, Jack Del Rio and the guy he handpicked for the DB's coach, some guy with a lot of high school, we complained about that, right? This guy had no resume, poor resume, friend of Jack's, a guy that Jack knew. That's a Ron mistake too, if you ask me.
Yep. Yeah, it goes right up the tree. Ron brought all his people with him. So we've talked about this before when we talk on the phone that, Ron, when they hired him, they would take anybody. He was probably they probably didn't have anybody on a list that would take that fucking job at the time. And he They probably let him, because he was willing to do it, bring all his people with him. Under normal circumstances or the upcoming circumstances, that won't be tolerated. They only put up with that because the idiot's willing to take the job. He's willing to do it. Sure, bring whoever you want. So he brings Del Rio, and that in, causation, he brings his people too. Oh, come on over. We're gonna play for Washington. And so there's no real thought process put into who's going to get hired. And when you look at all those assistant coaches, you can see it's as plain as the nose on your face. Some of them are good. Some of them deserve to be where they are, but for the most part, they're all a couple years in, or they played a couple years in college and then went straight to coaching. Everybody's got to start somewhere, but Lord have mercy, it's just middling at best. And
and you'd think, like you said, you got Ron's nephew's on the team, Del Rio's son's on the team, and then Del Rio says, hey, we need to, the DB guy quits and goes, I forget where he left. He went somewhere else. He wasn't happy. He was a veteran. He'd been around. He wasn't happy. And then so Del Rio goes, hey, I know this guy. He coaches at this small college. He's got a lot of high school experience. Well, that's where Ron steps in and goes, no.
You're right.
We're doing a deep search here. Let's get someone. No, we're not getting your friend. That's the problem.
Yeah.
And so they're both gone. And that's what gets me, there's a lot of talk, right? It came from the owner. It came from Ron. No, man. It was a group decision, man. This owner's a pro. He's owned pro teams. He knows what's going on. He's not going to step in and tell them, hey, you got to fire that guy and that guy and that guy. He's not that kind of guy. He talks with them. There's a collaboration. And this shit's been brewing. This didn't happen in one game. This stuff's been brewing. There's a problem with the DBs, problem with the communication. There's problems with the players communicating with Del Rio. And I'm not even blaming Del Rio for that. We talk about it. Sometimes coaches just get stale and the players do not respond. That's on the players, but what are you going to do? It's the old thing. Can't fire the team. But it wasn't working. And I think they've been talking about it. And I think they realized they had to do something in that regard, because what I think is most important is we know we're not going to the playoffs. We know we're going to have a whole new regime coming in. But this owner, he wants, and they want, and they should want to know how these defensive players are going to play so they can evaluate them for next. You can't evaluate jack shit from what's out there now. It's just a mess. Is Ben St. Juste really that bad? No. These guys, none of these guys are as bad as people are making them out to be. A lot of our players, but you can't, if you don't get some kind of a baseline in there, some kind of where players are going to start to buy in, maybe Ron talked about simplifying. Hey, we're going to only run out of these 3 basic schemes. We're not going to run out of 7 different looks. We're going to kind of run out of these. We're going to keep it in, and then we can start to judge these guys, because the regime needs to know on both sides of the ball who they're keeping, who they're extending, who
Yep.
they're cutting out. You know what I mean? It's super important, man. I mean,
Yeah.
every team in the NFL, and especially for this team, and you can't have a dysfunctional system in any business where it's dysfunctional, it's bad, and then you go to judge people, you go to rate people, you can't. It's
Yeah.
because the whole thing's a disaster.
Yeah.
People aren't happy. People aren't pulling their weight. You can't tell who's who's not happy, who's not pulling their weight, who are the leaders. Like on this defense, can you really tell? I can't.
No, there's
Yeah.
no real leaders on the defense. I don't know. The
No.
whole thing to me, partly I lay some of that at Ron's feet too about the whole defensive thing too. He's the head coach and he's looking over his fucking shoulder and he knows what he's doing and he's head coach and he can say, no, I want you to do this.
Yeah.
Or no, I want you to do that. And so they kind of heap it all on Del Rio. Now Del Rio unchecked is going to do what Del Rio wants to do. And so that's on Ron as well. Same with Bieniemy not wanting to run the ball. I mean, there's something going on there too that Ron just won't say. Why didn't Ron curb him a little bit as he saw it was going on? He's the coach. He's the boss. He's supposed to fucking say something. And he didn't. And he let his boy hang. And he's the one who hung him. And
Yep.
so to me, I see it more of this as a corporate move. Uh, that corporate was saying, look, we're going to be fucking chopping people loose here coming up anyways. This is low hanging fruit. Del Rio, it's an easy one. No one's going to question why we got rid of him or this other guy. No one even knows who this other guy is. We'll just get rid of him too. You see what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And then we'll kill 2 birds with 1 stone. We'll make Ron have to fucking work instead of just standing there on the sideline with his arms folded with the fucking
Yeah.
headset on fucking elevator music, which is what he looks like he's listening to, and make
Yep.
him actually like participate in what's going on. And so that's the upper management going, we're going to come in here and cut throat anyway. So this is the start of it. I think what really started it was getting rid of the defensive ends, Chase Young and
Yes.
Montez Sweat. Look, here's what we're going to do. We're cutting our 2 best defensive ends. Fuck you. Here, we're cutting our defensive coach. Screw you. Look at that. We cut players and coaches without even thinking about it. You're on the block too. And that brings us back to what you're saying about give these guys an opportunity to show what they can do and why they should still be with this team. And fuck, I would go further. I'd make them write a fucking 5-page report on why I should be on the team. As well as
Yeah.
go, no, dude, I've had to do that for my own job. Why should we keep
Yep.
you here, Denley? Oh, well, fuck.
Yeah.
Write me a piece of paper that says why. And so I don't know. I think this is all part of upper management, skilled looking at. They brought in that our new guy there likes the stats. This guy, he's probably orchestrating all this stuff. Fuck it, you
Yep.
keep going. You can cut Del Rio and that other guy. No one will hardly even notice.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? And we'll get Ron to run the defense, and we're all good to go. And more of that, I believe, is going to be coming down the line. And like we talked about, I would almost be sure that they have a big fucking war board somewhere that has all the people that they're looking at to fill these places. I mean, every single position. Why wouldn't you look at every single position?
Yep.
Replace everybody. I mean, or at least have somebody slotted in just in case this guy doesn't work out. You have somebody ready to go. But we talked about it earlier too. Washington looks like a place a general manager would want to go to. Scouts would want to go to now. Now that you've gotten rid of Dan Snyder and you've gotten a new guy in there, and they're on the rebuild, and they're going to pour money into it, and possibly a new stadium, blah blah blah. And so that makes us more attractive, opposite of what it was when Ron got here.
Yep.
Ron got here was a shithole and no one wanted it. Now it's changed over the 4 years, and now everybody probably wants to get in on this. Hey man, they're going to spend some money. They're looking for good people. I want to get in on the ground floor and get this team going. So this should be really an exciting time for everybody, and not downtime. This should be encouraging.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
excited for it.
It's true because I know a lot of people, even you and I, we talk about the 3-year program when we came aboard to start doing the YouTube channel. It was a 3-year program, and we got about 2 1/3 years in and realized, holy crap,
Yeah.
it ain't working.
Nope.
But the thing is, it's one of those things that had to happen
Yep.
in
It
order
has
to
to
go
be
to the
that
next
way.
step because
Yep.
so much was messed up. I mean, you see the whole Snyder thing's a disaster. There's also offshoots of the Snyder thing that involve Gruden, that involve this guy. It's a when they peel the curtain away from all that, whew,
Yeah.
I don't even want to see it, but it's terrible stuff. A lot of garbage, in there. And then you got a stadium that's leaking water, that runs
Yeah.
out of hot
Yeah.
water. Just the whole thing. I mean, Ron really, in a way, I mean, his back was against the wall in so many ways. So, and you made a good point too about coach, like this running thing. Like, why aren't you in on team meetings? And like with the defense, why are you telling, like he's saying he's going to simplify things down. And I did watch some stuff that talked about the defense was presenting a lot of different looks. So single high, two high, data, sort of like almost like a bunch of different schemes all the time to fool people. And that sounds great on paper, but maybe your players like going, what do I do? Okay, in single high, and one rotation. And maybe it's just too much. And coach right away said, hey, we're going to kind of simplify things down. And maybe because you know what, you probably get really tired as a defensive player. You go into the meeting room, go, what happened? You get chewed on, you get yelled at. You're like, okay, right, because we were in single. Okay, and then we were here. And sometimes that stuff, it's like, come on, dude, it's football.
Yeah.
Don't do that. And then the other point is why wasn't Jack in the coordinators meeting for the offense going, what's the game plan? Let me see what plays are we looking at? What's the overall scheme here? And you're going, no. Look, you guys work for another couple of days, and I'm going to come back. And we got to see some run. I got to see some run-centric stuff in here. This is the same as the last 4 weeks.
Yep.
You're the coach. You're the boss.
Yeah.
So that was bad. And then there, I haven't heard much about it, but pretty much everyone acknowledges that there was a EB Jack Del Rio, argument, a fight. They had, so it wasn't a fist fight, but they had words, and there was, so some stuff went on there, which I don't care about that in particularly, but it just shows dysfunction.
Yeah.
You can't, that's the main thing, is that there's dysfunction. And so anyway, hey, it's all good. If you're gonna, time to rip the Band-Aid off, man. Let's get going. The guy that we did bring in, it was Jim Salgado. He was at Michigan State. I guess what they did was they went to they had to fire their coach. It's a long story. But anyway, he was part of the staff. So, he was open for a job. He was with Buffalo. Mm-hmm. Now, he does have a Ron connection in that McDermott, the guy with the Bills, he was a longtime assistant with Ron. And this guy was in Buffalo for 6 years. So he has 6 years of professional experience. He had experience before in college. So compared to the guy that we let go, he's got, Michigan State, pro, like not upper echelon, but, a good organization, a good college, 6 years of pro. So anyway, he's just coming in to fill in. I mean, he might be auditioning himself, but thank goodness, we got someone like that, and they need that. I'm kind of glad. I didn't know what they were going to do. Were they going to promote someone up? Were they going to have someone take over 2 jobs? So I'm kind of glad that they went ahead and brought a guy in, so he can come in and take care of these DBs. And maybe a lot of the problem is the DBs. Like you said, miscommunication, not being ready. And as an aside, I got a couple stories, and I went ahead and verified it. There was a receiver for the Giants. They interviewed him, and it got out there. Ed Oliver was talking about it, and I went and checked it out. And it was true what he said. This guy was talking to the media, and he said they left, the Washington Commanders DBs were left in man coverage. He said, way too much.
Yeah, goes, I was wondering about that.
Yeah.
And they were press man all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. And then what they were saying was we burned them. So when we came out, we thought, okay, we may have to go a different run, but they stayed the same. So they're doing these things called, they were doing mesh concepts, where guys go up and do deep crosses, and that way you can, defenders screen defenders, or one guy just can't keep up. the safety might get a little confused. You can, and he said, we just kept running them, and we just kept being wide open because they just were not, they did not change up to do what we were doing. And when I heard that, that's when I thought, man, I don't know, man, that's almost like sabotage.
Yeah.
That's like, F you, I'm going to put you in man, and you guys just deal with it. Holy crap. That's so anyway, crazy. That was crazy. So I think, so anyway, now we're moving on. I think these are all positive things. Hopefully Ron can, like you said, Ron, get in there, get in the room, get these guys straightened away on defense. And because, hey, man, could Ron have asked for a worse first game back as a defensive coordinator?
Oh, God, no. Yeah, I know.
Tyreek Hill and
Waddle.
They got these running backs. Mostert 4.34 40. You know how we get burned on those 60-yard runs? Raheem Mostert is about twice as fast as Ramondre Stevenson.
No shit, dude. That whole team is crazy fast.
Yeah,
dude.
yeah, exactly. Anybody gets out there with the ball, whether pass or run, and you give them a little depth, pew, goodbye. Yeah. And we have been burnt by the big play, so it's scary. So Ron's going to have his hands full with that team. Let's see what happens. It's almost unfair. Because that is one team. God, you'd be saying, God, why couldn't we play the Patriots or or someone else, coming out of this disaster? But hey, you play who's on the schedule. So it will be very interesting to see because teams have a hard time controlling Miami.
Yeah. So they are point scoring fools, dude. They dropped 70 on Denver, and so I've always liked Tyreek Hill. Mostert's a great running back. Tua, he's a lefty. So Waddle. They got a decent defense. So
yes,
I don't know what we can do against that, but it's going to be at home, so there's not going to be a lot of people there. I doubt there's going to be hardly any. I didn't look at the weather, so I don't know what's going to happen there. But it's just going to be a challenge, and I'm excited to see what Ron has to do on the side. Is if he's going to have the plastic card in front of him and calling the plays in and all that kind of stuff. I'm assuming that's what he's going to do.
Yeah.
And Zampese should be doing the regular red flags, timeouts, 2 minutes, all that kind of stuff. So Ron don't have to worry about that. It's not like he fucking does anything anyway.
Yeah. Like you said, man, at the half, that timeout management, when you had a chance to get the ball back with up to even a minute, and they're just sitting there and clicking away, and the timeouts are just sitting there.
Yeah.
Well, at least two, I think we'll get a good chance. They're a good defense. They're not stellar, so it'll be a good chance to see our offense. I still have hope for our offense.
Yeah.
I have some hope that even though shit went down on the defensive side of the ball and there's a bit of a blow up, that maybe how that reverberates through the whole team, even to the offense. And like you said, hey, this owner's not afraid. Hey, cut your two best guys. You're gone.
Yeah, you're out of here.
Defensive coordinator and that shitty DB coach that you brought in, you guys are out of here.
Yeah.
And so maybe that reverberates to the offense. The offense, I think they'll do good. Yeah. I mean, I think I like what they're doing. Like we always say, like to see them run more, but they're working things out. We're getting some nice looks. Sam had a pretty, I'd say, less than stellar game against Dallas. He's had some good ones, but that one was like, that wasn't good. So he needs to come back stronger. Hey, you know what? They've had it'll be 10 days, right?
Yeah.
You get 10 days since they played. So there's, you should be rested, healthy, ready. Ron gives Ron more time on schemes, explaining to them, hey, this is what we're going to do. It gives EB more time to work out his offensive game plan. So there's a lot of time on the administrative end to get in there and get these guys going. So, hey, I think we have a chance to beat them.
Yeah. Every week we got a chance. I agree, dude. Maybe it takes a little something like this to shake everybody up. Everybody knows that they're under the microscope. I hope that doesn't fuck with them too much, but they're professionals. They make millions of dollars. They're always under the microscope. There's a million cameras on them and hundreds of thousands of people watching them, so they should be used to it. But I hope EB kind of changes up some of his play calling, or something needs to happen. Their running game is just like we've talked about before. It's not even like they even practice them. They just call them. Just try and
I
run through the
know.
A gap. Not like
Oh,
setting up the blocks or doing anything like that. Nothing. It just seems like the runs are just generic runs, and they just run it. So, but we'll see. And the other thing about that too is that everybody touts, oh, Howell's got all these passing, this, that, and the other. Well, it fucking throws it 50 fucking times a game. Well, no
yeah,
wonder your stats are going to be up there just by virtue of the fact that you throw so much. So, um,
yeah.
I
And
don't know.
that's why you get sacked so much.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I mean, 50 drops, dude. They're teeing off on your ass.
Yeah.
It's not like you're fooling anybody.
And he always gets sacked at the worst time on that fourth
Uh,
down in our own territory and all this stuff. And you're just like fucking clown. So let's hope they can
yep.
clean it up. I'm excited
Yep.
for it.
Yep. I'll
Uh,
be there.
Sounds good. I'm looking forward to the big game on Sunday, man.
Yep. Hopefully
Hopefully all our
everybody will be
friends.
there.
Yep,
Get
all our
everybody in the
friends.
chat. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You never know. Games like this hurt our viewing.
I
When
know.
they know we're not going to win, they won't come. I don't blame them.
Yeah. I know.
It's
And it was,
exciting.
yeah. And Thanksgiving's a busy day for everybody too.
Yeah,
A lot
well,
of traveling, a lot of running around. So I watched a lot of the guys who do content for the Commanders, a lot of good video, guys that we know and watch. And so many of them were like shooting episodes from maybe their grandma's house in a
yeah,
t-shirt.
yeah,
They're not in their studio, and
yeah,
so it's pretty cool. Everyone doing their best. So, well,
yeah,
let's hope we can turn it around. I'll be there. You'll be there.
yeah,
Wheezy D, Mountain Man, Chris, Veronica, they'll all be there.
yeah. Sounds good. All right, everybody. I think that covers it. Thank y'all very much.